and welcome to the Markets, Trends and Profits channel. I'm Alex Kreiner. I'm the creator of iSystem Trend Following. I've been working as a market analyst, researcher, trader and hedge fund manager since the mid-1990s. This beautiful place behind me, that's Monaco. It has been my home base since that time. If you stick with me through to the end of this video, I'll show you the best view of this principality. We're going to climb up there on foot. Anyway, the mission behind iSystem Trend Following and this channel is to explore financial markets and the secrets of investing profitably for the long term. And I want to emphasize for the long term. What we'll cover here is not commonly taught in university courses. In fact, I'm not aware of any universities that prepare their students to truly understand markets and to become successful investors. Learning how to do that is a great challenge. It has been the focus of my professional and intellectual interest for over 25 years now. During that time, I've conducted deep and extensive research into the subject matter from every conceivable angle, including market fundamentals, quantitative analysis, technical analysis, history, and psychology. However, my approach is not scholarly. I'm neither an academic nor a journalist, but a practitioner. I spent the best part of the last 2 decades running a number of hedge funds, managing money, and trading in over 50 different financial and commodities markets. Over that time, I've conducted tens of thousands of transactions worth many billions of dollars. Ludwig von Mises said that many who are self-taught far excel the doctors, masters, and bachelors of the most renowned universities. Without false modesty, I can say that I am one of the individuals that von Mises was referring to. And on that basis, what I will share with you on this channel is absolutely authoritative. I will also propose certain concrete solutions and decision support for your investing requirements, but please do not expect shortcuts or gimmicks. If I should put a label on what I will share with you here, I'd label it as knowledge, experience, and wisdom. The investing approach that I propose is based on the foundation of 4 pillars: truth, strategy, discipline, patience. So what I mean by truth is knowledge, but true knowledge, what is true and relevant. This is in itself a challenge, since every day we are inundated with information that clutters our thinking and muddies up our ideas. And as you will see, access to more information does not necessarily improve investment performance. To the contrary, it actually disimproves it, believe it or not. Strategy. I'm a strong proponent of systematic trend following for a number of reasons. But just at a high level, I can categorically say 2 things. A, that over long stretches of time, market trends are far and away the most powerful drivers of investment performance. And B, that trend following is the only valid answer to the key problem facing all traders, investors and hedgers, and that is uncertainty. The hard, incontrovertible fact that we have no way of knowing what may happen tomorrow, let alone a month or a year from now. Now, saying that trends are the most powerful drivers of investment performance and that trend following is the only valid answer to the problem of uncertainty are very strong statements. I'm aware of that. But as we get into this subject matter with this video, you'll see that the evidence supporting those claims is very, very compelling. So our next pillar, discipline. This refers to 2 important issues, primarily your risk management discipline, but also the discipline of sticking with your strategy. Sticking with the plan as opposed to drifting and letting yourself be tempted to trade on a whim. Finally, patience. Patience is part of the discipline. It's like if you go fishing, you throw your line and then you wait. Markets don't respond to your trades, your schedule, and when you make your investment, you have to wait and cultivate that patience. So again, truth, strategy, discipline, patience. Now, I also want to address an important question here, which is why investment management is so important. Why do we have to speculate at all, and why you should pay attention? The reason is that we have to manage our savings, our wealth. And I think that everyone intuitively understands this, that in our present monetary system, the currency's purchasing power is being continually diluted through inflation. This predictably eats away at the value of your savings over time. So if you saved your money for the rainy day in your mattress, by the time that rainy day arrives, your money might not be worth very much. At the same time, the quote-unquote safe investments are yielding next to zero returns. So to avoid losing your wealth to inflation, you have to take risks and make investments, and that will be able to generate you positive returns. This is not just a profane question of speculation for the sake of speculating. It's not about gambling. It's about managing your savings and building your wealth. And this is extremely important because your wealth has a very strong impact on your quality of life and ultimately on your own personal liberty. Thomas Paine said that money, when considered the fruit of many years' industry, the reward of labor, sweat and toil, as the widow's dowry and children's portion, and as a means of procuring the necessaries and alleviating the afflictions of life, and making old age a scene of rest. Money has something in it that is sacred, that is not to be sported with or trusted to the airy bubble of paper currency. Thomas Paine's slightly younger contemporary, Alexander Hamilton, actually linked the question of money to liberty. Hamilton said that in the general course of human nature, a power over a man's subsistence amounts to a power over his will. So, the question of managing your investment portfolios isn't about making a quick buck speculating. It's the matter of preserving and growing your wealth. It is the matter of your life's quality and your personal liberty. This is why this matter is well deserving of your close attention and your best endeavor to do a good job. As much as I can, I'd like to help you with that, and this is precisely what this channel is about. It is for those among you who want to take a strategic approach to managing your portfolios and growing your wealth steadily and gradually for the long haul. For some investors, this might require a change of their mindset. What I know from some retail brokers is that most of their clients do what they call message board trading. What they mean by message board trading is short-term transactions in and out of the most popular securities for a quick gain. Also, many traders use their accounts with the idea of making X many dollars or euros per day to supplement their incomes. Fair enough, that may be their desire, but desire is not a strategy. Still, other traders use trading as a form of entertainment, and some brokers have clearly exploited this inclination, and they model their trading applications to look like trading games. But none of this is investing. It's gambling, and as a rule, the results will prove disappointing. In fact, brokers' own statistics show that a large majority of their clients lose money. So to avoid being one of those, you need a more disciplined, strategic approach. The reason why this might require a mindset change is that some traders lack the patience and the discipline to be truly successful. They want a shortcut to trading profits, and they dabble in popular stocks or experiment with gimmicks that promise unrealistic results. Of course, they'll find no shortage of people offering such gimmicks and promising miraculous profits. The reality, however, is that as many as 3 out of 4 individual investors lose money, and that is in spite of the fact that over the last 12 years, we've had the greatest bull market in history, and every stock investor should have made bundles over that time. Unfortunately, that is not what happened, and I think that the problem is in short-term thinking, ill-conceived strategies, or trading with no strategy at all. Having no clear high-conviction strategy, in turn, makes it hard to maintain discipline or to have patience. So this is what we're going to work on, and it should help you improve your game by leaps and bounds. Investing must be regarded as a long-term pursuit. It is in fact a lifetime's pursuit, and you should properly measure your success by how much you increase your wealth over time. Unlike gambling, which regularly ends in tears, Investing for the long haul should gradually enhance your wealth and improve your life. To be successful at it, you should commit to a lifetime of learning. You should study markets and economics, but also your psychology, which will prove to be the ultimate deciding factor. It wasn't for nothing that Benjamin Graham said that the investor's chief problem, and even his worst enemy, is likely to be himself. It should be obvious that in tackling any complex challenge, we must devote some effort to studying the subject matter. And as we find, the best hunters read books about hunting, the best chess players studiously read chess texts, and the top race car drivers read books about cars, about engines, about driving, and so on. Almost without exception, the most successful money managers spend a great deal of time studying everything that's relevant to their work. Ultimately, the knowledge you acquire and build up over time should protect you from the many pitfalls and errors in investment trading. I'll give you just one concrete example of the way this studious approach to a challenge can be decisive between success and failure. The story I'm about to tell you is centered in the military clash between German troops and the Allied forces in North Africa during World War II. At that time, the control of the Suez Canal and of the key Mediterranean ports on the coast of Africa was hugely important to the British Empire and to the Allied war effort. So, when Mussolini attempted to seize control of Egypt, the British deployed their army and quickly pushed the Italian troops back far across the desert into Libya. To counter the British and help his ally, in 1941, Hitler deployed an expeditionary force, the Afrika Corps, under the command of General Erwin Rommel. Now, Rommel had built up a reputation of phenomenal personal courage. His soldiers idolized him, and they trusted him completely. During the battles, it seemed that his spirit would permeate all his troops, and they invariably fought with extraordinary courage and determination. This all earned Rommel great respect, even among his enemies. For 2 years, his army struck terror with the Allied forces. Against the odds, and even with his troops outnumbered 3-1, Rommel ran circles around his enemies, winning battle after battle. For example, in June 1942, his forces took control of Tobruk, which was a strategic port of huge importance for the British. The Germans captured a large number of British troops with less than half as many soldiers. This was a huge defeat and a massive humiliation for the British. Such exploits created a fearsome aura of invincibility for the German troops. They enjoyed high morale, while at the same time the Allied troops talked about Rommel with fear and respect. Even in battles when his forces were depleted, and at one point with only some 30 tanks remaining, his enemies still widely expected Rommel to win. Exasperated Winston Churchill said in the House of Commons, "What else matters but beating him?" So, to defeat Rommel in August 1942, Churchill sent a very large reinforcement and a new command for the British troops. The Americans also sent a large contingent armed with an arsenal of American-made weaponry, including the brand new Sherman tanks. So, the American troops were motivated and highly confident, but their first engagement with Rommel's troops quickly crushed their morale. In November 1942, the Americans launched an attack on German positions, but they suffered a disastrous defeat. In the second attack, Rommel's troops destroyed all of the Americans' tanks, as many as 60 of them, and they did so without taking a single casualty. Quickly, the American army learned to fear the desert fox, as they called General Rommel, and they would repeatedly retreat in order to cut their losses. Now, here is why this story is relevant for our purposes today. In early March 1943, General George Patton took over the command of the US forces, which had grown wary of sustaining heavy losses against Rommel's troops. Patton had done his homework. He read General Rommel's book on infantry tactics, And he not only studied Rommel's thinking and military tactics, he also understood Rommel as a man. In the Second Battle of Kasserine Pass on 23 March 1943, American troops, now emboldened by General Patton's confident leadership, stood their ground and refused to retreat. In spite of huge losses on both sides, the Americans eventually prevailed and finally destroyed the myth of invincibility of the German Afrika Corps. So, in turning the tide against Rommel's forces, General Patton famously exclaimed, "Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book." So Patton's homework, his effort to study and understand his enemy, may have been the decisive factor that changed the outcome in an important World War II battleground. As in war, so in investment trading, the work of preparation, of acquiring and building up knowledge and wisdom should enable you to be successful so that you may grow your wealth over your lifetime with less stress and better quality of life. In launching this channel, I hope that I'll be able to inspire you to bring discipline and strategy to your investing by sharing what I had learned as a market analyst and investment manager over the last 25 years. In future videos and articles, we'll discuss financial and commodities markets, trend following, market psychology, risk management, and many other subjects relevant to our challenge. In the meantime, I've condensed much of that curriculum in 2 books I wrote. Mastering Uncertainty in Commodities Trading was ranked #1 book on commodities by financialexpert.co.uk on their list of the 5 best books on commodities for investors and traders. And this year, I published Alex Krainer's Trend Following Bible. There's actually about 40% overlap between these two, so if you'll choose one, I'd recommend the Trend Following Bible because it's more up to date and it also contains some practical tips on trend following. You'll also find more materials and a transcript to this video on my website, iSystem Trend Following. The links will be included in the description below this video. I look forward to keeping in touch, so please be sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell so that you'll be alerted when I post the next video. I think you'll find the discussions absolutely fascinating and very instructive. And if you have questions you'd like me to address, please leave a comment in the section below. In the meantime, keep well, stay free, and I'll see you soon. Oh, wait, I promised the view. So we're gonna climb up there. That rock is called Tête de Chien. In English that means dog's head. So I'll see you there. All right, so now we're climbing up to the top of the Tête de Chien mountain. I'm climbing up these little mountain trails that you can see behind me. They will take us to the top of the mountain, and from there we'll have a spectacular view of the Principality, which is just below us here. Anyway, as I was climbing up the mountain, I thought I'd get back to one of the important words I used in my earlier bit of this video, and that is the truth. And basically, for the last 15 years or so of my life, I've tried to live up to the credo, always tell the truth, even if it leads to your death. I kind of hesitated to share this because it sounds a little bit extreme, a bit excessively lofty. But bear with me, because I think it'll turn out to be quite important. And so this kind of came to me some 15 years ago or so when I watched the Ridley Scott's film Kingdom of Heaven. And if you haven't seen that film, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful film. It's set in the Middle Ages during the Crusades. And in one of the scenes, a French knight, one of the protagonists, played by Liam Neeson, initiates his son, played by Orlando Bloom, into his knighthood. And during the initiation ritual, he tells him, always tell the truth, even if it leads to your death. And these words made quite an impression on me. And at first I thought, no way, man, that's too extreme. That's almost impossible to live up to. Maybe it's just plain dumb. But the idea kept coming back to me, almost like my subconscious was telling me, hey, pay attention, this is important, don't gloss over this. And it took a while, but it came full circle, and I finally saw the light. And this was brought home to me over my issue with punctuality. And so, I always used to give importance to being punctual. So when you make an appointment with somebody, you turn up on time, right? As a matter of respect for the person and for their time. But in reality, I always had a difficult time actually being punctual. So I would often turn up 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 15 minutes. And then I would come up with an excuse. Sorry, there was a traffic jam, or my boss called me just as I was leaving office, or something to make it okay that I'm late, But then I realized that I was actually propping up my self-image of a respectful person on lies, on falsehoods, right? And that, on the other hand, committing to telling the truth would force me to either be punctual or to admit, mainly to myself, that I'm a disrespectful schmuck, late for no good reason. And then that further made me realize that being lax with truth allows us to be lax in other ways in life, And so then this was like a whole cascading sequence of thoughts that then made me realize that, well, if we all committed to being truthful, we could actually make the world a better place. And I really believe that, because if spouses were truthful with one another, maybe we wouldn't create so many broken families and so many fatherless children. And maybe statesmen and the media wouldn't create all these false narratives that lead nations into wars and destroy many millions of lives all around the world. And maybe financiers wouldn't create these Ponzi schemes that deprive everybody of their wealth and prosperity. And basically, if everybody committed to being truthful, I think that the world would be a better place. And I don't mean this to be overly extreme. I don't mean it to be an aspiration to sainthood, but I think that the very act of making that commitment and keeping it alive can keep us from habitual, casual lying. And it's also not about splitting hairs about every word we say, because, there are times, humor, for example, involves saying things that are untrue or grossly exaggerated, and that's fine, that's fun, right? At other times we deal with personal interpretations of truth, which may or may not be correct. I could be telling you something that I'm completely convinced about, but I could be wrong, right? But that's fair enough. We can't know everything about everything. But it's at times when we set out to deliberately mislead or deceive somebody that we create something bad that can potentially harm others and ourselves. And I think that at the subconscious levels, it also undermines our own self-respect. So they say that, we have to be the change that we want to see in the world. And I think that one of the changes we can make is committing to being truthful and to at least live up to it on important occasions. And maybe our little lives don't matter quite as much, but if you multiply that by hundreds of millions of people in this world, I think that we would be able to really leave behind for our children and their children a better world. And I think that's worth the effort and the commitment. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with you on my way up, and I'll see you at the top, onwards and upwards. See you shortly. All right, so I arrived. We are at the top of the mountain, and I'll show you the view. My timing, unfortunately, is not perfect because the sun is exactly in the position to diminish the view a little bit. So basically, what you see here, that's the main port of Monaco. That there is the big new water break where I recorded the previous part of the video. That water break was installed some 10 years ago, and it's quite a feat of maritime engineering actually. Then if we move further to that side, that part of Monaco is called Fontvieille, and over there you see the stadium of the Monaco Football Club. And then if we look down that way, we have the rest of the French Mediterranean coast, the city of Nice, Cannes, Saint-Tropez, towards Marseille. And then on that behind me, that's the beginning of the Italian coast of Liguria. So that's that for now. I look forward to keeping in touch. Please remember to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when I post the next video. Leave a comment if you have questions or something you'd like me to address. And please remember, managing your portfolios, your savings, is for the long term. It's the process of building up your wealth. The ultimate objective is quality of life, and we do this on the foundations of truth, knowledge, strategy, discipline, patience. Stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Take care.